What is up, metalheads? It is another episode of Full Metal 5. I am not your usual host. Chance is on a little bit of sabbatical, taking a break, and has asked me to step in. So I will be your host this evening. I am the Red Ranger, RJ Varial, and we will be taking a little break from the usual schedule of Chance's thing. He likes to relate things to the movies usually coming out. I don't do that. I like talking about what I like talking about. So me and Jeremy have been wanting to do this forever. And so what we have decided to do is we are doing the top 5 animated Disney films. I know what you're thinking. That's a lot of movies. What we did for y'all is we split it up into 3 eras. This tonight's movie is what we like to call the Disney era. This is 1937 to 1967. This is every movie that Walt Disney himself had a hand in. And I think I got a pretty good panel with me today to discuss this. First off, let me introduce the first person who actually responded to this entire post. Our friend from Down Under, well, next to Down Under. I don't know if New Zealand actually goes by Down Under, but that's Malcolm. Malcolm, do y'all go by Down Under as well?
No, as Kristen Smith likes referring to it, the down under, down under.
The under, down, under. Okay, I'm gonna have to write that down. That's a tongue twister right there.
But
All right.
yeah, no, I'm really happy to be talking to Disney here.
All right, well, let's get on. Next up, we have a gentleman who you may know him from Movie Battleground as one of the usual judges, and that is Subrath. Subrath, how you doing today?
I'm good, but I need to clarify on that. Actually, it's not down under, down, it's downside because it's down and it's towards the side, downside, on the downside.
So the under, down to the side. Give me a biscuit with a side of fries. I'm done. We're done with
East side to the downside.
All right, and next, unfortunately, as much to his jargon, Jeremy was not able to join us tonight. He was not feeling well, so stepping in his place is Luca Fallon. Luca, how you feeling tonight?
I'm so good. I'm so good at taking Jeremy's place in things. This is great. I'm really excited. This is like probably my favorite era of Disney movies in terms of the animated stuff. So this is going to be a real fun time.
All right. And last but certainly not least, we have Zach Ford with us. Zach will be joining us for as long as he can. He does have other plans, but he will be with us for as long as he can. So Zach, how you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling good. I just so everyone knows, I come from what is commonly called the Down Under of Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin. Everyone calls it that. Kangaroos are fucking everywhere, but otherwise, I'm happy to be here.
I like that you said last but not least, but he's leaving early, so we do literally get the least ahead.
He does, though. All right, so that way he gets as much time. Let's get started. So for those of you who are just joining us, and just to re-explain the rules, how it goes, round one is simple like this. We are going to go around the proverbial table here and nominate a movie that we think should be at least considered for the top 5. We're going to nominate until we have 7 movies that we feel that should be considered. So since he is leading first, Zach, I want to start with you. What is the first movie that you think should be considered for the top 5 of the Disney era?
This is like a whole different show. Chance always gets me last because he has a secret vendetta against me. I want to make sure I get the least amount of choices. I don't know what it is, but I won't watch every show. I'm pretty sure I'm last. But mine, and I'm concerned about this because I thought this was just like a Disney beloved. I thought everyone grew up with it like I did. And I realized there's a lot more hate than I believe there's out there. I know Luca's going to be out to get me on this. It calls me on this a lot. But one of my top 10 movies of all time, one of my favorite Disney movies, and I think probably my favorite soundtrack in the movie is Jungle Book. And I think there's another movie that I think really started the trend towards kind of the bluesier, jazz-influenced soundtracks that were really prevalent in the 60s and 70s Disney movies. But this, I think, does it best. The story, it's light, it's simple, but it's enough to move you along to be with these great characters and have these great moments with them and these great songs. And there's 2 stories on here that I'm a sucker for and love every version of. One of them is Jungle Book. And I still feel is the best version of Jungle Book.
All right, so Jungle Book is on the table. Subrath, I saw you put your arms out in enjoyment over there. So, does Jungle Book make the consideration list?
Yeah, because it's on my list as well. But I'll get to where it is on So
But-
top 5, right?
Well, we're nominating a 7. We're nominating 7 to be in the top 5. So do you think Jungle Book should be considered for the top 5?
I think it is. For me, it's on my list. It's a little bit higher on the list. So I think I agree to Zach's, because Jungle Book, it's close to dear in my heart, and I mean, bare necessities. Who can forget that song?
Hey, that's fair. All right, so that is 2 votes for Jungle Book. Luca, I actually want to see if he's right. So do you think that Jungle Book should be considered for the top 5, or is Zach right that you're going to say against it?
Yeah, I don't. I have kind of a bit of an issue with some of the later, sort of sketchier Disney films that really came to prominence in the 70s. I think stuff like The Aristocats is cool. But Jungle Book is kind of one of the first of those for me. It's Wolfgang Reitham's second movie, and much weaker than the first, in my opinion. But it's there are positives to it. I do think the music is great. I love King Louis. But I think it's a boring story. I don't really care much for Mowgli as a protagonist. I like Baloo and Bagheera, but that's about it. Shere Khan is... I am going to give it a no, but I know it's going to get on the list anyway.
All right, well, let's see if you're right. That is 1 no and 2 yeses, so I will take it next to Malcolm. Malcolm, does Jungle Book make the consideration list?
Well, we were talking about this before we started. We predicted that this was going to be the first one Zach throws out, and instantly I thought, well, that definitely belongs in the top 7. So it's yes for me.
All right, so with that, Jungle Book makes the top 7 consideration list. And for the record, yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to vote against Jungle Book. Come on. It was the last movie Disney worked on.
I was really getting concerned about people not liking
I really
Jungle Book.
don't get why Luca doesn't like Shere Khan.
We'll talk about it later. Let's move on.
When I nominate you to get off the list, we'll talk.
All right. So, Luca, since you're the only one who voted no, I will give you this chance to redeem yourself. What movie would you like to nominate to be considered for the top 5?
I'm going to go with the third Walt Disney Animation Pictures release from 1940, a film that is beautiful and sweeping and deals with a lot of emotional movements, deals with classical music. It's the closest thing Disney has ever done to an art movie. It is, at its best, incredibly powerful. Introduced me to classical music as a child. Introduced me to this kind of classical animation as a child. Fantasia. Fantasia is an absolutely beautiful piece of animated cinema. And while there are little live-action interjections in the middle by Dean Taylor, who is like the master of ceremonies for the movie, it is mostly animated shorts set to pieces of classical music from people like Paul Dukas, Peter Tchaikovsky, Johann Sebastian Bach, Beethoven, Stravinsky, Mussorgsky, and a whole bunch of other people. It is just a beautiful, stunning piece of work that I think is probably the highest kind of, the most high concept thing Disney has ever done, and the most kind of experimental and out there thing that Disney has ever done. I think it's basically a perfect film. I think it completely deserves to be on the list.
All right, so Fantasia is on the board. Since my vote didn't count, I'll go ahead and go. And sorry, Luca, but it's gonna be a no. I am not a huge fan of Fantasia. That movie freaks me out for some reason. I don't know why, but other than Sorcerer's Apprentice, I can't watch it. It doesn't keep me locked in. It makes me want to fall asleep. It makes me go want to do something else while it's on. Granted, like you said, it was a great experimental movie. It was one of their first big risks that Disney took. But that's why I feel like it belongs in another list entirely because of that. But if we're talking about the top 5 animated Disney films, I believe there are 6 others that deserve way more to be considered for that. So for me, that's going to be a no. Zach, this is your chance to get back at him. Do you think Fantasia should be considered for the top 5?
So, as a kid, as I believe most kids experience, have no interest watching Fantasia. It is, as far as a children's movie, not easily entertaining or accessible, because it is something more experimental and more artistic. And I think it just involves a little more appreciation for cinema and the craft that children is going into a movie for. So as an adult, a year or two ago, I'm going to watch Fantasia. I'm going to have a whole new appreciation for it. I'm more mature, and it's still just kind of a bore. Now, I do appreciate like the attempt to put it to classical music and stuff. But the classical music is the best part of that, and they don't really deserve credit. They didn't write the music. The visuals are fine, but I think like Bambi does it better. Pinocchio, there's more wonder and magic and artistry, painterly artistry, I think, in Bambi and some other features than Fantasia, which I think really relies on that and needs that. It just never really impressed me that much in that sense. So I am a no.
All right, so that is 2 no's and 1 yes. Let's go ahead and go to Malcolm next. Malcolm, does Fantasia make the consideration list?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed Fantasia. It's number 7 on my personal list, so I'm going to say yes for now.
All right, so that is 2 yeses, 2 no's. So it comes to you, Subrath. It is your vote. Does Fantasia make the top 7 consideration list?
Sorry to disappoint Luca, but I have never seen Fantasia. But the only closest thing I've seen is you know that small sequence where Mickey was putting on the hat and he was
Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah, just that. I mean that's basically it. That's basically it. I've not seen Fantasia, so I'm not sure if I could say yes or no on this. It won't be fair. It won't be fair if I judge.
Man, we're put in a weird predicament because technically we are tied.
Zach doesn't get to be a tiebreaker and have a vote. That's not how that works.
No, you're okay. I'm gonna leave this. This is gonna be a first, so everybody in the comments, if you want to get mad at me for doing this, but here's what I'm gonna do. Malcolm, is Fantasia actually in your top 5?
No.
Then we're gonna go with no consideration. I'm sorry, Luca.
My number 1.
Oh man!
Well, you better stop finding a new one.
You hate my number 1. I hate your number 1.
All right, we are gonna move on next.
I actually love Fantasia. I just hate Luca.
All right,
I fully believe that.
Hey, you too. I will mute both of you right now. All right, so Subrath, since you didn't get to vote last time, we're going to go with you. What is the first movie you would like to nominate to be considered for the top 5?
Based on the list I have, I'm not sure you guys have this on the list. It's Lady and the Tramp. Lady and the Tramp is like, I saw it like after I saw 101 Dalmatians, so basically it's much better, featuring dogs movie I've ever seen. Plus, I really like that scene. I think the most memorable scene is the spaghetti scene. That's why I'm putting up the.
All right, so Lady and the Tramp is on the board. Let's go ahead and go to Luca first. Luca, does Lady and the Tramp make the consideration list?
It's really interesting that you made the comparison between 101 Dalmatians and Lady and the Tramp, because they are in some ways similar movies, but I think in a lot of ways they're very different. 101 Dalmatians has a lot of focus on the human characters, on Roger and Penny. Is that her name? The wife.
I'm trying to remember it. I can't.
And makes them into like full-fledged characters. But Lady and the Tramp is much more like from a dog's perspective. There's a lot of like cute things, like they think the owners are called Tim, Dear, and Darling, and you always see them from the feet, and that kind of thing. I like the movie a lot. It's my number 8, but I guess now that Fantasia's off the list, I just say yes. I guess.
All right. Well, that is a yes. That fits in.
What?
That fits the yes. So we're going to go ahead and move on to Malcolm next. Malcolm, does Lady and the Tramp make the consideration list?
Yeah, this was a movie I really loved as a kid, and that spaghetti scene always got me in the heart, so I'm going to have to say yes to this.
Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's 3. So Lady and the Tramp makes the top 7. That's my life. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you, guys.
Right. Okay, so
RJ, do you prefer Fantasia or Lady and the Tramp?
Definitely Lady and the Tramp, but I prefer 100 Dalmatians to Lady and the Tramp.
Oh, okay.
So
you can have them both. That's what
I hope so. Let's see. All right, Malcolm, you are next. What movie would you like to nominate to be on this considered for the top 5?
Well, I'm going to nominate the one that started it all. I'm going to nominate Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I mean, this is what began Walt Disney's career. This is the one that just brought him to forefront and made people notice him. And if I remember rightly, I'm pretty sure it was nominated for a few Oscars that year as well. So I'm going to throw out Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
All right, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is on the table. I'll go ahead and go first by saying, yeah, I mean, just what he said. This is the first animated film ever. Wasn't it actually the first ever theatrically released animated film?
First
Like full length animated feature. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, first full length animated feature. I mean, it can't not be on this list. And I mean, even aside from that, it's not a terrible movie. I mean, I'll be honest here right now. That Evil Queen's hag form terrified me as a child. I could not watch that movie at all. But you know, I love the dwarves. They're absolutely fantastic. They're some of my favorite Disney characters just as an ensemble. So yeah, easily Snow White should definitely be considered for the top 5. Zach, you also didn't get to vote last time. So what do you think? Should Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs be in the top 5 consideration list?
Well, first of all, you gave it I think it's the most bullshit argument in things, which is it is first, so it has to be on. Okay, first does not mean it was done the best. You heard me, Beatles fans. Do it first doesn't make it the best.
Beatles didn't do anything first.
They popularized things first.
Stay on topic.
Okay. Otherwise, yeah, Snow White has one of what I think a very primary issue with some of the earlier princess movies. There's a lot of issues a lot to do with just being dated. But the main characters, the princesses, are typically very boring, with the exception, I think, of one that might come up. But she's not interesting. The most interesting characters are the dwarves, and I feel like we add value to them because of their names. They actually aren't that fun when you watch the movie. I think we've added some enjoyment to them, kind of surrounding the movie. So that movie doesn't really do much for me. I think it's a nice, story, but it's definitely a first film, I think. So no.
Okay. So that's 2 yeses and 1 no. So let's go to Luca next. Luca, does Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs make the consideration list?
I think that of the 3 princess movies from this period, it's the weakest. I think that it is. I like a lot of the colors, and I like a lot of the sort of shading. I like the stuff in the forest with the very shadowy stuff with the eyes. I think that the Evil Queen, the design of the hag form is great, but I think the character itself is I think the character of Snow White is and I think the dwarves are probably the most interesting part of the movie, but even then it's just like I can give or take it. It's a very vanilla movie, I think, is the thing. And there's so much to be expanded on. There are 16 films later than that in consideration. I think that there are ones that deserve to be on significantly more than that. I am also going to give Snow White a no.
All right, so once again, we come to Subrath for the deciding vote. Don't mean to keep putting the pressure on you like this, but does Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs make the consideration list?
Actually, I would agree with you, Renee. The Evil Queen, the sequence when she was turning into an old lady, that's not for kids at all. That's not suitable for kids. I saw it as a child, and it still haunts me till today. That evil love, that's still, if a kid sees that, he or she is going to cry, for sure. So, I mean, I think Walt Disney made that movies, maybe at the time, animated movies was still for adults and kids, maybe still mixed. But, yeah, I would agree with Luca. I mean, they didn't really develop much on Snow White, but they did develop more on the dwarves. So,
all right. So with that, are you saying no or?
I'm still thinking.
Okay.
This is tough. I mean, if I say no, for like some reason people would just hate on me or something.
Just say no. Don't.
I mean, they're gonna hate on Luca and Zach too, so you're not gonna be alone. Like,
The most
They can't hate
intriguing
on
part
no
of
for
that
every
movie-
answer.
The most intriguing part of that movie is the evil queen and the dwarves. Snow White, they could have just developed more on her, and the prince just came in at the last second and just
He
took
did.
her. Like what? Where
did
did this
so.
guy come from? I mean, I'm sorry. I think it's slight. It's 51% no for me. So it's.
All right, well, with that 51%, and what I would say is probably the first big upset of the night, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs does not make the
very upset
consideration
about
list.
It's number 8 on my list. It's number 8 on my list.
See, there you go.
Luca. That's a number 8, not Lady
All right.
Tramp.
So it is my turn, and there's one I really want. There's one that I really think should be there. I'll go with the one I think, and for me, this one, and that's going to be Pinocchio. I just think, I mean, that was one of the first. I mean, that's one of the first ones that I can say, like, that song is so iconic. When You Wish Upon a Star, I mean, they still use it today. I know most of you guys were around when in the 90s, that was every Disney commercial. That was the song that they used, When You Wished Upon a Star. That was everywhere. And, I mean, besides the song, the story of, like, this wooden puppet who's trying to become a real boy, but learning what it actually takes to be a person, like what it actually means to be human. It's so deep for something that's a kid's movie, and it has that really deep meaning to it. And Jiminy Cricket, to me, once again, is one of the most iconic Disney characters out there. And I just think for sure, if any movie deserves to be in the top 5, it's Pinocchio. So we'll go ahead and go to Money Mo. I don't like you, you're a hoe. Let's go to Malcolm.
I want to know who you called a hoe.
You'll never know. Malcolm, does Pinocchio make the consideration list?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to rhyme no with no, so I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Well,
Be careful.
he's not even going to try, guys. So, all right, so that's one yes. So let's go to Subras so he doesn't get put in an awkward situation again. Subras,
Thank you.
does
for that.
does Pinocchio make the list?
Pinocchio is number 4 on my list, actually. And this movie, again, I saw it when I was very young. I didn't really remember much of that movie. It's just that the most important, like, you know, for me, it's a scene when that whale caught up. I mean, when the whale ate both Pinocchio and his dad or something. I mean, that's that scene between him and Pinocchio inside the whale's stomach. That's I don't know why I remember that so much, but then it's I mean it's on my consider. I couldn't say too much on this. It's just that I know it's a good movie.
So is that a yes or a no? Just so I'm clear.
It's a complete yes. It's a number 4 on my list. Of course, it's yes.
All right. Well, then that settles that. We don't have to go to the 2 arguing ones today because Pinocchio is on the list. But out of curiosity, Luca, would you have voted yes or no on Pinocchio?
Talk about a movie that's not for kids. Jesus Christ. It's number 3 on my list.
Okay.
I
Let's keep those for the end, guys. Keep those for the end. Your actual.
I absolutely love Pinocchio. It's a really, really wonderful movie. And When You Wish Upon a Star, I think it's Disney's jingle on, like, that happens before all of their movies. It's on all of their commercials. It's also a jazz standard. It's a phenomenal song. And I think as sort of for a film to have something that has become that emblematic of Disney as a whole, I think is incredible.
Zach, you quick thoughts? Would you have gone yes or no on Pinocchio? Or
Yeah, it's a weird as fuck movie that has some, like, I like that Subrath brought up the whale image because I think there's just enough moments and images to leave a mark in kids' minds. Because to me, kind of traumatized for a while, but now I appreciate it as an adult. The kids turning into donkeys was so imprinted in my mind for years that I think there's just a lot of memorable and kind of like crazy brave stuff that they did at the time. So yes.
All right. So with that, hey everybody, quick check. What is Pinocchio's father's name?
Geppetto. Geppetto.
The question is, how do you spell it?
Very complicatedly. But anyways, all right. So we have gone through everybody once, and so far we have only filled 3 movies. So far we have The Jungle Book, Lady and the Tramp, and Pinocchio. So we are back to Zach. Zach, what other movie would you like to nominate for this list?
This is going to be my last one. I'm going to head out after this. So I have to go
That's
out.
fine.
I'm going out with another one that's I don't think holds up as great as I remember as a kid, but it's just a story that I adore. It works for me always, no matter what. And you can take this with what it means, because yes, it does mean I do actually really like. I don't want to get started with Luca on this because I know there's feelings about this director, but I do really like the movie Pan, and I'm the only person in the world that has appreciation for Pan because
But we're actually
Pan,
talking about Peter Pan, right?
But Peter Pan, the story always works, and the animated version of Peter Pan is just a delight, and has some great world creation in it. So Peter Pan is my choice.
All right. I'm actually going to go to Luca since he didn't get a vote last time. Luca, does Peter Pan make the consideration list?
I like that movie a lot. It would be kind of around like the low.
Good. Luca froze over there first.
Luca said yes. Move on.
He didn't say yes.
He looks like he's picking his nose.
He's building up the suspense.
He's back. Yeah, he's back. All right.
How far did I get? I like the film a lot. It's a film that left an impression on me as a kid. I love Neverland. I love how it looks. But it's not. There are other book adaptations that I like a lot more. And it's kind of hanging out around the 10s, like 10, 11, that kind of area for me. So I'm going to give that a no. As of now, we're going to say no to Peter Pan.
All right. So that is.
We're going to say grow up.
All right. Malcolm, does Peter Pan make the consideration list?
Well, before Superman made you believe a man could fly, Peter Pan did it first. It's one of my favorite Disney movies, and I'm going to say yes.
All right, and I'm going to go ahead and go next and say absolutely. I mean, it's Peter Pan. It's like, who didn't want to be a lost boy? Seriously, who didn't want to get taken off to Neverland and rock with Peter Pan, skin some animal and wear its clothing, play catch and grab with some Indians, fight some pirates? Come on, the Peter Pan is one of the best Disney movies. I mean, once again, the song "You Can Fly" I think is just almost as iconic. Maybe not as memorable as most people, but when you do hear it, you can't help but think of it automatically. You're just like, yes, you can fly, you can fly. It's so much fun. The movie itself is fun. Captain Hook, I think, is an underrated villain. So yeah, I mean, I gotta give it to Peter Pan. And with that, Peter Pan makes the consideration list. Suprath, real quick, what would your thoughts been on Peter Pan?
Yes, I mean the points you just brought up, the song, the crocodile. It was a crocodile, right? In the first
Yes, crocodile.
Yes, it was a crocodile.
In the sequel, it's an octopus.
Okay.
Let's not talk about that sequel.
It was funny when his eyes were just jiggling or something. And of course, there's the song "You Can Fly, You Can Fly, You Can Fly." It's on every team on a theme park over here in Indonesia. You wouldn't believe it. It's always there. It's always on. It's on repeat. It gets annoying to a point, but still you enjoy the song. But it makes on my list. It's number 5 on my list, so it makes it.
All right.
Okay.
So with that, I guess
I'm happy that I have been able to make an impact in this list, and probably the only impact I'll make on this world during my short life. Okay, it's been wonderful. Good luck. Jungle Book forever.
All right, Zach, just remember to send me your list.
Oh, yes, I'll send you my list.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Have a good night. All right, so for those of you who are watching and those of you who may be watching later, since Zach did have to leave, here's what we're going to do. Zach is going to send me the rest of his list, and he's actually going to rank the movies. We are going to do our best to go through this and actually get things on the list. If we ever come to a 2-2, we are going to refer to Zach's list. And if Zach has a movie in the top 7, in the top 5, ranked in a certain way in the top 5. We are going to use his list as the tiebreaker. But enough about that. We'll worry about it when we get to it. Let's move on. So, Luca, it's your turn next. What's the next movie you think should be considered?
It's between 3 and...
I need 1.
I know. It's hard.
Well, technically I need 3, but you can only say 1 right now.
Can I suggest? Okay. The other 2 are going to be suggested at some point, so I'm going to go for something a little bit weird, a little bit out there. I'm going to go with a 2-parter based on 2 of my favorite stories of all time: The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, which is a 2-part movie based on Sleepy Hollow and The Wind in the Willows, which I absolutely adore. I am head over heels for this movie. It's got Bing Crosby in it. He does the narration for the Ichabod story, the Sleepy Hollow story. It's got Basil Rathbone in it, J. Pat O'Malley, all of these great, like, classic actors, retelling 2 of just, like, really wonderful, timeless stories in really interesting and, in the case of the Sleepy Hollow story, very, very dark ways. I think it does a lot of things that Disney hasn't really done before or since. Like, one of its protagonists, Ichabod Crane, he's an asshole. Like, they have an asshole protagonist, which I think is kind of a sort of an interesting thing, and he gets his comeuppance at the end. I think it's a really interesting movie. I think it's something that is a little bit off the beaten path, and I love it because of that. One of my favorites. I've thrown the meat to the lions. Feel free.
I mean, so Adventures of... I'm going to go ahead and... it's just such a mouthful. Okay, so The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, right? Or is it Mr. Toad and Ichabod?
The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
Okay, so The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. I'm going to start with this one. It is a very enjoyable movie. Don't get me wrong. And I mean, hell, if I'm not mistaken, it's one of the more popular older rides at Disneyland, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Wild Ride.
And according to Mallrats, everybody wants Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Okay, that was my one tangent today. That was it. But it's another one of those times where it's just like, it's enjoyable. I like it, but it is not top 5. It's not even top 7. It probably barely makes the top 10 for me. So I'm gonna have to start that off with a no. I mean, we're gonna need a resounding no for this one apparently, but we'll see what happens. So Super App, does The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad make the list?
I have not seen this movie, so I cannot vote. It's up to you guys.
Okay, well,
in that case, we're not getting a tie.
Well, so here's the situation. I'll say it right here. So, Malcolm, does The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad make this list?
It's not top 10 for me. It's a no.
And unfortunately, Zach does not have it on the list he sent me, so that's it. No Adventures of Ichabod. But I appreciate your gusto on that. I appreciate you throwing that in there. That was
it's my job to throw in all the movies that all of the other people aren't going to throw in. That's what Charles gets me up for.
All right, so Subrat, you are next. What movie do you think should be considered for the top 5?
Dumbo. Dumbo is one. I think it's the most emotional Disney animated movie I've ever seen. I mean, the scene with when the pelicans came with the babies, it's quite interesting. Seeing all the animals get their own child, Dumbo is it's on the list there. I couldn't say because we're on a time crunch. I couldn't say it.
Yeah. All right, so Dumbo is on the table. Let's go to Malcolm first. Malcolm, does Dumbo make the consideration list?
Well, Dumbo is my favorite summon from Kingdom Hearts, so yes.
Is that a yes? Is that all we needed? Was that the only argument? Okay, that's the only argument he needed, guys. All right, so I'm gonna go to Luca. Luca, does Dumbo make the consideration list?
In the ranking of these 17 movies, I have Dumbo dead last.
Oh! Wow! Nope. Wow! Straight for the straight for the thing, man. Straight for it, man. I that hurts. And so it comes to me. So it comes to me.
And then potentially Zach.
Yeah, but because that's hard. Because I have my 7 here, and man, it's like there were 2 that were tied for 7th place, and Dumbo was one of them. So now I actually have to choose between these 2 movies, which I'm not going to say what the other one is, but Dumbo makes it. The stork song at the beginning, I love that scene of the storks dropping off all the babies. Elephants on Parade, as weird as it is super enjoyable. And When I See an Elephant Fly is also just an iconic song, regardless of how unfortunately racist it might be. It's still a great song. So yeah, Dumbo makes the list.
Oh, I have a correction. It's not actually dead last on my list. It's second to last.
Of course, we can't forget.
I gotta know what's dead last. I need to know. Now that
it's definitely not going to be brought up. That would be fun and fancy free.
Okay. Well, that's not bad. All right, so we are moving on. So we got Dumbo. Malcolm, your turn. What movie would you like to recommend? Huh?
And I'm sure
Yes, 2 spots left.
Yeah. And I'm sure poor Yama would have voted if Dumbo didn't make the list.
Probably.
I'm gonna bring up the most emotional movie from this period. I remember watching it as a kid, and when his mother got murdered at start, and it's Bambi. I'm bringing up Bambi. It's just one of those ones. It's one of the first Disney movies that I watched that actually really made me really cry. It's just, yeah, not a lot of words can describe it.
All right. I'm going to start this one with a big resounding no. F that deer. I hate Bambi. It's so boring. I'm sorry. I don't know what everyone's big deal about it is. I can't stand Bambi. It's the whole first act for me does not keep me interested in the movie. I'll come and watch the second half, and I'm still not entertained. I mean, Thumper is probably the best part of that entire movie, and even I get tired of that rabbit every now and again. So for me, unfortunately, I'm going to say no on Bambi. I can't stand that deer. That guy hates it. He's the reason I eat venison. Yeah, I took it there. I went dark. Oh, eat that deer. All right, so let's go ahead and go to Luca. Luca, does Bambi make the list?
Oh, God, yeah. Bambi's incredible. Bambi is fantastic. It's one of the most, I think Disney movies at their best are very efficient. They're not, sort of massively stylistically out there, except for Fantasia, which should have made the list. Narrative Disney movies are at their best when they're efficient and they tell the story sort of directly and simply and as precisely as they can. And Bambi, to me, is the best example of that. I think it's one of my favorite narrative Disney movies in general. I adore it. I think that the sort of place that the Big Mother moment has in pop culture has kind of diminished its effectiveness to an extent in people's minds. But seeing that movie from like a filmic standpoint, it's an incredibly done scene. The idea of man as the villain is pretty cliche and overdone now, but is sort of perfect for the tone and structure of the film. I think Bambi is basically a masterpiece. I have no idea what you're talking about, RJ.
I'm sorry. Like I said, I don't know what it is, but I just don't like it. So, Supra, does Bambi make the consideration list?
I think it is. I mean, before you guys say anything, I mean, I have not seen that movie. But 2, I have seen that scene when Bambi's mother got shot. So just that scene alone, I've not seen the movie, just that scene alone makes me, makes my heart wrench because it's an anime movie and you see someone die in that movie. I mean, that's how much it affects people. I mean, it's a good movie, I think. I've not seen it, but it may come. It'll be on. I'll say yes. I'll say yes. It's a yes movie. I'm sorry, Nick.
All right. So here's the thing. We have a predicament here. He did vote yes. However, every other time he hasn't said he watched a movie, we haven't counted his vote.
Yeah,
he has seen a scene.
I think that we should probably take this to the Zach list.
Well, that's the problem. On the Zach list, we still end up with a tie because he does not have Bambi. So that would be 2 yeses and 2 nos. So what we're going to do, if anybody is watching live right now, please help us. I'm going to go to the comments right now. Should Bambi make the consideration list? Not the top 5, our top 7. Let's give it a couple seconds. Let's see if anybody who's watching thinks Bambi should make this list.
Make it a yes.
So let's see.
Harley has said no.
Yeah, so Harley said no. Paul said no.
They're the only 2 people I see that actually commenting. So
yeah, I'm gonna go with a no then. We're gonna go with no. I'm gonna stick with that, and we're gonna say no. Screw that deer, that wimpy deer.
This chaos.
Bambi does not make this list.
Oh,
Can all go home now. Everybody go home. We're doing what we can, Luca. I'm sorry.
This is chaos.
We're doing the best we can. So, it's my turn next. We still have 2 spots left. No. Yes, 2
We have
spots
2
left.
spots left. Because you're fucking wrong about Bambi.
Hey, we're moving on. So, it would be hard-pressed not to have a princess movie in at least a consideration for Disney's top 5. We have 2. So I'm going to go with the one I actually enjoy more, and that's Cinderella. I just like Sleeping Beauty has its moments, but for me, Sleeping Beauty is really about the fairies. Like, it's not her movie. Like, Cinderella, granted, her little animal friends do take up a lot of time, but it's about her. Like, I enjoy the music for what it is. A Dream Is Wish Your Heart Makes is another iconic Disney song. Cinderella is one of the funnest songs to sing ever. Sing Sweet Nightingale is a really nice song to just put on when you're in the mood for a nice slow song. I think it has one of the best underrated villains there in Lady Tremaine, the evil stepmother. I think she is so underrated. Oh, dude, talk about scary scenes. When Cinderella sees her in the reflection in the mirror, closing the door on her, oh my God, that scared the ever-living crap out of me as a kid. That's like just seeing her green eyes in the distance in that mirror, like, oh my God, just no, I don't like, but I think if any princess movie is going to make this list, this is going to be the movie to do it. And Subrath looks okay. Subrath's back. So Subrath, since your vote technically didn't count last time, I'll throw this to you first. Does Cinderella make the consideration list?
It's number 7 on my list, actually. But I mean, my favorite character in that movie is just the actually basically fan.
Gus.
Gus. I mean, who doesn't love Gus? I mean, that scene between him and the cat when they're being chased around while making the dress for Cinderella, it's just really funny. But I mean, the best scene. I mean, it's not a good scene. It's the best scene, performance-wise, was just like her stepsisters ripping the dress out of her, like making her heart break, and that's basically the turning point for her. So I'm gonna say yes on this movie.
All right. So we're gonna go to Luca, who's looking over there like he's covering his mouth, like he doesn't want to show what he's about to say. So Luca, does Cinderella make this list?
I was just striking my beat. Cinderella is my favorite, like pre-New Age of Disney princess movie. I think that it's probably it's better than Sleeping Beauty. I think it's better than Snow White. I would say yes. I think it's got a really lovely, genuinely sweet protagonist. I think that the villain is great. I think that the villain's cat is great. It's exactly got the same problem as all of these classic princess stories do. The prince is dull.
Oh God, the prince.
Fuck.
He
really says one thing, and the comedy has always been like half and half there for me. But I just think that at the core, it's got such a like genuinely sweet and lovable protagonist that I'm going to give it a yes.
All right, so with that, Cinderella does make the list. Malcolm, just a quick, would you have put it on the list, or you weren't feeling Cinderella?
This is not my favorite princess movie. I like the music, but that's about it. It's just one of those ones I just don't like. She could just stay at the photo shop waiting for her prince to come in.
All right, well, sorry you feel that way about it. So we've gone through again. So now we have added Peter Pan, Dumbo, and Cinderella. We have one spot left, gentlemen. Luca, the floor is yours. What do you think should be the last movie considered for the top 5?
This is super tricky. I'm going to go with The Sword and the Stone, which was the last movie that was released while Disney was alive. It's the film that Wolfgang Reitman directed by himself before The Jungle Book. I really like it. I watched it a lot as a kid, and in one of those like on repeat as a child type things. I think that Merlin and Archimedes are some of the best supporting characters in classic Disney. I think that Arthur is a more relatable protagonist than you tend to get out of these movies. I think that it suffers a bit from a lack of a really strong villain, but I think that in terms of its tone and its the way it's paced and its atmosphere, I think it's really quite wonderful. So I'm going to give it to that, which, again, have at ye.
All right, so Sword of the Stone is on the table. Another wild card from Luca. What else can we expect? So, Malcolm, does Sword of the Stone take the last spot in the consideration list?
Well, I thought I was on a run of seeing all the Disney movies that have been brought up, but this is the first one that I haven't seen. So my vote won't count.
Subra?
I'm sorry, Luca. I'm going to have to say no. I've seen this movie. I mean, it's just basically 1 hour of pointless of doing nothing. The villain is just there, just doing what? The villain is just there just to give the movie a purpose. And the purpose is really small. And the main one is just getting Arthur to the sword to be able to be lifting it up. And after that, he became king.
Oh, it's got no stakes. The only stakes are the entire throne of England. Oh no, that's.
It's a no.
It's very easily forgettable that that's at stake.
I argued that in a movie battleground match. I argued with Arthur and I lost. So.
Yeah, sorry, Luca. I'm gonna have to say no too. It's kind of like with Ichabod and Mr. Toad. It's an enjoyable movie. I do love watching it when it's on, but I don't feel like it's top 5 quality. That thing would probably barely make my top 10, honestly. And unfortunately, Zach doesn't give you any save. He doesn't have it on his consideration. So unfortunately, Sword of the Stone is not on this list.
I feel like Jeremy on the Action Heroines episode.
All right, let's move on. Subrat, what movie would you like to nominate to take the last spot for the consideration list?
Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty is, it has, it's not basically mostly focused on sleeping because most of the movie she was just sleeping. But what made the movie more intriguing is the villain. Jefferson was really good. The prince was really also good. And I mean, you're really looking forward to that moment when she finally wakes up because the first time I see that movie, I thought that this is gonna be a sad ending. She's not gonna wake up and she's just gonna be like that because they build it to that point. And then, yeah, it's on my list.
Right, so that's it. So that was a no.
Huh?
That was a no?
He just nominated it.
Oh, I'm sorry. You nominated. Sorry. I totally forgot. Luca went by so quick, I thought it was Luca's movie. I'm sorry. Luca's turn went by so quick. But Luca, that's why, because I wanted to go to you first. I'm sorry. So Luca, does Sleeping Beauty make the consideration list? I apologize.
No, it does not. The film is, I think, actually one of the best looking films in this classic era. It's gorgeous, visually speaking. The painting and the color scheme is just incredible.
It is.
You cannot talk about this movie without talking about Maleficent, the most intimidating of, I think, the Disney villains. Just terrifying. But the reason that you can't talk about this film without talking about Maleficent and the fairies is that there's nothing else to talk about. And seeing as those are side characters, there's not much here. No.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Luca on that one and give it a no. As much as the scene where the fairies are using magic to prepare the birthday for Aurora, or what do they call her? Primrose? That's
Primrose.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite scenes in any Disney movie ever. I love when they're using the magic to when they first try to do everything themselves and they're like, all right, close all the windows. We're freaking doing this the easy way. And, of course, the infamous pink and blue fight is classic as well in Disney. But, yeah, it's all about the side characters. And, I mean, granted, Once Upon a Dream comes out of that movie, which is a great song. But it doesn't do enough to save it to put this movie in the top 5. So, Malcolm, we go to you. Do we go to Zach's list, or do you disagree that Sleeping Beauty should be on this list?
Yeah, when the villain overshadows your title character, it is a really big problem. It's a no for me as well.
All right, so with that, Sleeping Beauty, not considered. It's always the 7th one, guys. Every time we get to a 7th one, everyone gets a no. We'll eventually find one that we can all agree on. So Malcolm,
there's like 5 movies left, and 3 of them are never getting set.
Well, we'll see. All right, so Malcolm, what movie do you think should take the last spot in the consideration?
Well, this one, the one I'm going to bring up, it didn't have a great live action adaptation in the 2010s, but the animated one was really good. I'm bringing up Alice in Wonderland.
Thank you.
Because it's just one of those ones, like the visuals, all the side characters combined really work together. It's like, and Alice is not overshadowed. It's just one of those ones which is a joy to watch from start to finish, and even the villain is amazing.
All right, Alice in Wonderland is on the table. I'm gonna go ahead and go first again and say no. I'm sorry, it's too weird. Too weird of a movie. I can't make heads or tails of it. It creeped me out as a kid. I think it was the Walrus and the Butcher that creeped me out the most as a kid. That story just got really creepy, really freaking quick.
Not the cat?
Yeah, Cheshire Cat's creepy too, don't get me wrong, but I just don't find it as entertaining as everyone else does. I understand what it is, though. But there is a movie I think that deserves to be on here more than that one. So for right now, just because of the situation we're in, I still got to say no. I still have one movie that I'm hoping I can get on. So I'm going to have to say no. So, Luca, I mean, you made your point pretty clear, but what do you think? Does Alice in Wonderland make the list?
Alice in Wonderland is great. It's a really fantastic movie. It's one of my favorite road trip movies kind of all time, where she's going through it and just having various encounters. I love the kind of the commentary that the Alice in Wonderland story has in general about childhood and adolescence, and most importantly, you're about to say 101 Dalmatians, and I don't want that movie on the list. So yes.
So much. I hate you. All right, Subrath, What do you think? Does Alice in Wonderland make the list?
I have to agree with you. It is creepy, but by the time I saw it, I was already capable of handling creepy stuff. I will not get to. I won't get into it, but I mean, it is. I mean, if every time I see Alice in Wonderland, I just want to skip to the very end when she finally goes back to the real world. I mean, I have no idea. Like, this is very tough for me to choose. I mean, it's. I mean, it is good at first, but then as you were seeing the movie, and it gets so weird, and she just goes to these places, and weird stuff happens to her, and it is sometimes you get confused, like, why is this happening?
Subrad, I'll make this easy for you. Is it better than 101 Dalmatians?
101 Dalmatians is still better than that.
You think it's okay? So you think 101 Dalmatians? Subrad says no.
Damn.
Yes, I'm still thinking. Now that you compare to 101 Dalmatians, 101 Dalmatians is here, Alice in Wonderland is here. I just have to say no.
So you're saying no to Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah, I'll say no. But I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
So we have a very interesting situation going on right now.
I'm looking at the list. I know what this is.
So
also, guys,
Alice in Wonderland is on Zach Ford's list. However, he also has 101 Dalmatians, and it is ranked higher. So
I'm going to plead my case.
No, here's what we're gonna do. As painful as this is, we're gonna do this again to him. So I'm sorry, Malcolm. Alice in Wonderland or 101 Dalmatians?
Alice in Wonderland.
He's the one who nominated it.
That's what I'm saying. Well, but like I said, he may have 100 Dalmatians too. If he'd rather have Alice in Wonderland on there, we're gonna stick with that then.
I get you.
But let me ask you, Malcolm, in all honesty, had Alice in Wonderland been voted off, would you have voted yes for 101 Dalmatians?
No.
If he can honestly say that, then yeah, we're going to keep Alice in Wonderland. If he can honestly say that, then we're good. So, with that being said, we have made it through round one. We have the 7 movies. So, pay attention to these guys because they're going to be important. So, we have, for consideration for the top 5, The Jungle Book, Lady and the Tramp, Pinocchio, Peter Pan, Dumbo, Cinderella, and Alice in Wonderland. This next part is the top 5. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back around the circle again. But this time, you are nominating a movie you think should not be in the top 5. Of these 7 movies, who does not make it to the top 5?
Actually, Rene, just 1 sec. I have to drop out now because I have to join this the fandom league or something. I have to join. Like, I'll send you the list of my top 5.
Okay. Yeah,
right.
We'll do that. That's fine. Thank you so much.
It's been enjoyable. I mean, thank you guys. And sorry, Luke, I let you down like so many times in this.
Okay.
So Subrath, just look at these 7 again for me and rank them. Just rank the 7.
All right. So I'll give you the top 5, the final top 5.
Yes, give us your final top 5.
Okay. All right. See you guys.
Let's be honest. This actually might make this easier on us.
There's an odd number of us.
There's an odd number yet, but we have 2 lists, so we might as well leave it to a 5 vote if it can come down to it. So it's still technically my turn. So I'm gonna say, this is probably going against you guys, but honestly, out of all these movies that are here, Alice in Wonderland does not make the top 5. I'm sorry. Every single movie that is on here is better than Alice in Wonderland, more rewatchable than Alice in Wonderland. So I'm going to nominate Alice in Wonderland to be off the top 5. So, Luca, what do you think?
Alice in Wonderland is great. I just told you why Alice in Wonderland was great like 5 minutes ago. It stays on the list. It's
Malcolm?
also what I didn't say before is that it's one of like Disney's most visually like interesting movies. It's got the most imagery in it that you wouldn't see in any other Disney film, which is why I like it and Ichabod and Fantasia and stuff like that.
Hold on. We have a situation. So we actually have the two people in the comments are volunteering to hop on to help us decide this top 5 list.
Mark and Paul,
Are you guys okay with that?
I get them on.
Hey, if they want to help us, then yeah.
God damn it! This is actually going to be a panel that could have got Fantasia on.
Absolutely not. Bolor. That
Paul
movie was...
would have let me have Fantasia. I want Paul.
All right, let me get these guys the link. I'm sorry, guys. We had a lot of drop-ins, drop-outs. We apologize for this. I promise you the other list will not be this bad. Give me a minute. I'm going to get some more people on here so we can do this the right way.
Need my inhaler for this. I'm losing my breath in all of this drama.
Yeah.
I think this is a full metal first, a revolving panel.
Revolving panel.
We did it on Jukebox Trivia. Jim Green had to leave for a Jukebox Trivia. That was the TV themes thing that you had such ire about.
Let me get this.
This is going to be so weird for the editor.
Which is one of the guys who wants to jump on.
Oh yeah, it's Harley.
Yeah. But I'm just going to warn you guys, because technically this is fair, but if we get these two guys on here, then we'll see what happens. But I'm going to tell y'all right now, if we go by the list of the guys who were actually here, y'all would be the odd ones out. Alice in Wonderland would not make the top 5. Just saying. Just throwing it out there. Be warned.
For the record, I asked to be on either classic or modern. Am I on the modern panel as well, or?
Well, I am trying my best to make sure it is a different panel, obviously, of course, besides me, because I have to host. But I'm trying to give everyone a fair chance to be on.
Ask and you shall receive.
I asked to be on either classic or modern. Am I on the modern panel as well, or?
Mark, are you watching it?
1 second.
Of course, besides me, because I have to. Man, is that what I sound like? I sound terrible. God, I sound terrible. All right. Let me see if I can. Or Harley, did you send the link to Paul?
No, I didn't. I'm actually on the Full Metal Live account.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got you. Let me see if Paul can jump in. Get this.
Yeah, he's asking where's the link. I can quickly do that for you.
Yeah, can you just send him the link real quick? Thank you so much.
I'm on it.
I can't keep track of my screens. You're going down, Alice in Wonderland. You are going down. Will not be top 5. I guarantee it.
Wait, is that? Yeah, Paul's got the link.
Okay. So once Paul gets on here, we will remind them of the 7. We will reestablish where we are at in the vote as of right now, and then we will get this going.
Just so you know, Harley, the 7 is Fantasia, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad,
Neither of those.
Sword in the Stone, Melody Time, Make My Music.
I'm already upset with you for Jungle Book. So.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Paul's here. All right.
Look what we have here.
I'll ignore that message.
Make Mine Music absolutely snubbed. Still mad about that.
I genuinely like both Make My Music and Melody Time.
Distraught.
I'm sorry. Quickly, what's the list?
All right. So
for
Paul and Harley, the 7 movies we have brought it down to are Jungle Book, Lady and the Tramp, Pinocchio, Peter Pan, Dumbo, Cinderella, and Alice in Wonderland. So we're now in the nominating stage to knock out these movies. I nominated Alice in Wonderland to be let go. Both Luca and Malcolm wanted to stay. So if either of you feel like you're ready with your vote, because it's going to swing it either way.
I can go.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there are definitely two movies that on here that are way worse than Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland definitely stays on the list.
All right, then Alice in Wonderland is definitely making it to the top 5 round.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
All right, so Harley, would you have voted differently?
No, not really. I don't.
I just want to remind all the audience out there, had Zach and Suprath stayed, this would not be happening. This is blasphemy.
Alice in
But
Wonderland.
whatever.
I probably would have voted it not to make the list at all, but
It's an excellent movie.
really,
Stop it.
And more importantly, there are two very much not excellent movies that are on this list already.
There's at least
I think I
one
know. I
that-
think I know what you're getting with one of them. I hope the other ones know what I mean.
All right, so Luca, we're going to go to you next. Luca, what do you nominate should be the other movie that does not make this list?
Dumbo. It's so boring and so bad.
All right, so Dumbo's on the table.
I know the
Malcolm,
poll loves it.
what do you think?
I think Dumbo should stay.
Oh, on opposite sides now. All right, let's go to Paul. Paul, should Dumbo stay on this list?
Yeah, I mean everyone kind of knows this. I love Dumbo. It's not my favorite, but it's closer than you might think, and it stays.
All right, Harley, does Dumbo stay in the top 5?
nope.
So it comes
I
to
gotta
me.
do it now?
Ah,
Come on, RJ.
man, this is hard because there's only one other movie that I don't want on this list. There really is, and I'm afraid people are going to keep it, which means we're going to be forced to get rid of one that I really want.
Oh boy.
Ah, I don't know if it's worth the risk.
Not.
But then again, I can't really see anybody else voting any other movie off this list.
Are you being the next person to separate Dumbo from Dumbo's mom? That's messed up, man.
Dumbo and Dumbo's mom are being put aside together.
Yeah. Hey, Dumbo needs to return.
You know what? I'm sorry. Dumbo stays.
Ah,
There's
come
another movie on here that needs to go.
I wanted a new piano.
Malcolm, I'm hoping you got it. Please tell me you got it. What movie should go?
Looking at the 7 that's on here, the one that I think is the weakest is sadly Jungle Book. I think Jungle Book should be off the list.
Wow. You are not my friend.
No.
I'm going first. Absolutely not. Jungle Book will be on this list. I am sorry. That is staying. Harley, tell me I'm right.
Oh hell yeah! I got so excited for Jon Favreau's live action Jungle Book because I wanted to hear Christopher Walken
Live action.
sing "I Want to Be Like You," and King Louis, awesome. Blue, Bagheera, everything. Like that's so far on the list, it's not even funny.
All right. Luca, does Jungle Book stay on the list?
Suck a bag of dicks, Rudyard Kipling. Get off.
All right. Well, that leaves it to Polyama. Paul, does Jungle Book stay in the top?
Oh, I am so terrified that what a movie is going to be brought up that I like more than Jungle Book. But this is still not one of the two that I would say are the worst on this list, so I'm going to say it stays.
All right. With that, Jungle Book has solidified its spot. So we have 3 spots already officially taken. So we're going to go now to our new panelists. So let's actually go to Paul. Paul, what is that movie that you think should not be on this list?
So there are 2. I'm trying to... Which one do I want to go with? I'm going to say The Lady and the Tramp.
All right. Lady and the Tramp is on the chopping block. Harley, does Lady and the Tramp stay in the top 5?
It's one of my 2 that I'll take. Well, now that one of them's secure, but out of the other 4, Lady and the Tramp gets kicked out.
All right, and I'm going to end this quick by saying, yes, Lady and the Tramp, out of all these other movies, does not deserve to be even considered for the top 5. That's it. Lady and the Tramp's out. We have our top 5, ladies and gentlemen. Luke and Malcolm, y'all don't look happy.
Wait,
We don't have our top
We need
5.
one. There's one more that needs to get going.
Oh, there's one more that still needs to go. Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I apologize. That was my
I
fault.
hope it's the one I think. that it is.
I apologize. So, Lady and the Tramp is out. All right.
For the record, that film is really good.
Not bad.
All right, so Harley, it's up to you.
I've never been too fond of it's not like I dislike it or anything. I've just never been too interested in this film, Pinocchio. Yeah, I'm
Ow!
I know that.
Um,
I've just never been attached to it.
I'm going to save some time. Show of hands who disagrees with Harley, because by that reaction...
Pinocchio stays.
Yeah, Pinocchio's definitely
Pinocchio's the
staying.
best. Yeah, Jesus.
Okay, so we have one spot left, and oh dear God, this is about to be a battle. So you know what? We're not even going to nominate. We're literally just going to go panelist by panelist.
Are we gonna vote on boards or?
No, we're literally just gonna go word by word. Like, we're just gonna go. So, I will start with Paul, because you didn't get to make a nomination. Let's start with you. What stays in the top 5? Peter Pan or Cinderella?
I've
Peter
never
Pan or
liked any
Cinderella?
incarnation of this character. Bye, Peter Pan. Get off the fucking list.
All right, that is one vote for Peter Pan. Luca, Peter Pan or Cinderella stays?
One is a really sort of beautiful, genuinely nice love story with some interesting characters. The other one is literally an ode to being a fucking man-child. Goodbye, Peter Pan.
All right, that's 2. Just needs one more.
Hook sucks, by the way. Just to accept with that.
I like Hook.
All right, Malcolm, Cinderella or Peter Pan?
I like Peter Pan more than I like Cinderella, so Cinderella goes.
All right, that's 1 and 1.
I don't like more.
I don't like being the deciding vote, so I'm sorry. If there's one movie that's left of mine that needs to make this list, it's Peter Pan. I'm sorry, that movie, I love the Disney princesses, but if we all remember Kingdom Hearts, Alice is technically considered a princess. I don't know if it's Disney canon, but she can be the princess because y'all decided to keep that movie in there. So I'm going to vote for Peter Pan. So Harley, it comes down to you. Tell me who stays in the top 5? Cinderella or Peter Pan?
This is really tough because they're both in that same spot. You can interchange them, but I'm just going to go. Cinderella's going to stay.
And with that, oh God, I hate all of you, but this isn't the first time this happened to me, so I can't complain. All right, so
Wait,
You know who actually should have gone?
whiteboards for this round?
Probably.
yes, the next round is whiteboards.
Okay, I'll be right back. I'll be
Go
like
right ahead, no
20
problem.
seconds.
Hey, RJ,
Yes, sir.
my history with Full Metal 5. My top picks never get chosen. So,
It was the first time. Oh no, it's the second time that my first pick wasn't chosen.
Yeah, because your top picks sucked.
Fantasia is fucking brilliant.
I'm just messing with you. No, like I said, I just not enough people enjoy it like you do. I'm sorry.
well,
All right, guys. So to
Based on
remind everybody-
artistic quality, it is by far the best.
So, to remind everybody at home and to remind us here, our top 5 movies, in no particular order right now, are Jungle Book, Pinocchio, Dumbo, Cinderella, and Alice in Wonderland. So, we have come to the ever-important ranking round. So, what we are going to do is, gentlemen, write down the movie that you think should be placed at number 5. What should be at the bottom of this list?
Can we write things that weren't nominated? No, I'm just... Can I write the 3 Caballeros, please?
Hey! I love that movie.
It's actually a hybrid.
I also like that movie as well.
It's-
I know it wasn't
It's a
eligible.
hybrid. It's too bad
I
it's a hybrid.
wasn't eligible there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Toyota Prius also not a.
So we can already say with 3 guys here, it probably would have been up in here for consideration.
Yes.
All right, everybody ready? All right, let's start with Harley first.
Alice in Trippyland.
All right, let's go to Luca.
Not as good as Jungle to Jungle Book.
Jungle is actually not as bad as people think. I love that movie. Malcolm.
Cinderella.
Ugh. Paul.
Piranha version's better. Cinderella.
I have Alice in Wonderland. So Luca, it comes to you. You have to change your vote.
Cinderella at the bottom.
All right,
Yes.
Cinderella.
sir.
Cinderella is number 5. So
The Brana version is better, by the way.
all right, so now Write your answers for number 4. What you think number 4 should be. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I just realized when I erased it, I put Alice in Wonderful. I was not paying attention.
Because that movie's wonderful. Your brain knows it.
No, that's how little I care about that movie. I don't even know the correct title. All right. Let's go to Luca first this time.
Jungle Book. And I wrote it twice for some reason.
All right, Malcolm.
The Favreau version was better. Jungle Book.
Ooh, Paul.
No, it wasn't, but it's still Jungle Book.
That's it. Our votes don't even count. Jungle Book is number 4.
Wait, hold on a second. Dumbo's on the list, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Okay, good. That was a mistake.
All right. So, same thing again, guys. Number 3. What is your number 3?
Wow.
Wow right now that this is ridiculous. I regret this decision. I need to redo this list with Jeremy on the panel because this is
If Jeremy was on the panel,
Yeah.
Fantasia would have made it.
Oh yeah.
If Jeremy was on the panel, Peter Pan would have made it.
No.
That funny. All right, let's go to Malcolm.
Alice in Wonderland.
Paul.
I like the movie a lot, but Dumbo.
I went Alice in Wonderland as well. Harley.
Oh,
Of
damn
course,
it.
Alice in Wonderland.
And that's it. Alice in Wonderland takes the number 3 spot.
For the record, the correct answer.
All right. So now,
But if
instead of
number
writing
1
number 2, you are writing your number 1. So put what you think of the last 2 movies should be the number 1 movie. If there's actually a debate here, I would be super shocked.
Just to confirm, it's Pinocchio and Cinderella, right?
It's Pinocchio and
No,
Dumbo.
it's Dumbo.
Dumbo.
Pinocchio
Dumbo.
and Dumbo are the
Cinderella
last
was
two.
5.
Yeah. Well, fuck off. How do I?
5 is like a 2, it's just upside down.
True. This is my number 5.
You should be voting for your number 1.
All right. All right. Paul, what's your number 1?
Pinocchio.
I also have Pinocchio. Harley.
Because it's hard to choose between 2 you don't want to choose. I went Dumbo.
All right, Luca.
He's a real boy now, and the number 1 classic Disney animated movie, Pinocchio.
And Malcolm, what would you vote it anyways? Just out of curiosity.
Geppetto.
All right, well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. So, to review, for the top 5 animated films of the Disney era from
Or
1937.
my 437.
These are ridiculous, but these are apparently your top 5. At number 5, we have Cinderella. At number 4, we have The Jungle Book. At number 3, we have Alice in Wonderland. At number 2, we have Dumbo. And the number 1 movie of the Disney era is 1950s Pinocchio. Am I wrong?
40.
Did I write that?
1940.
You definitely wrote that wrong.
40,
40.
Sorry. I always confuse my F's. I'm bad.
February
I'm done.
7th, 1940.
There you go. Well, Baloyama, we know what he'll spin. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for dealing with this rotating panel that we had to finally get this list. Super curious what it would have been like had we kept the original panel, even just keeping the 2 guys who had to take off. This list probably would have gone through a whole bunch of different things. But let us know in the comments what your top 5 are. Do you agree with our list? Would you have rearranged them? Would you add a totally different movie in the top 5? And make sure to look out for parts 2 and 3 of this series. This is only part 1. Next week, we are going to do post-Disney era, which is going to be from 1968 to 1994. And man, that one's going to be a bloodbath. I can already tell by looking at the movies that are on that list. So I want to thank everybody here. Paul, thank you so much for jumping on last minute. Where can people find you?
You can find me competing against one of the fellow panelists here in the There Will Be Trivia Team Tournament Final. You can find me across these various leagues doing, Full Metal Trivia, various other Full Metal 5s. Also, comment your theories on where Chance Ellison is right now.
I'll tell you guys all what happened. His internet finally ate him. It finally just had enough, and his internet is gone.
You're thinking way too complex. He's in Arizona and it's the summer. He's just melted.
All right, Harley, thank you also for jumping on last minute. Where can the good people find you?
Of course, you can always find me all over the place on Full Metal, Multiplex Entertainment, the new Tim Smith's new channel that I'm helping him do with the sports and wrestling vision, and of course Worldwide Movie Games. I'm always helping out there whenever I can. I'm all over the place.
Oh, RJ, can I do a quick thing real quick?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Also, coming soon, I'm going to be on the next episode of Dave Goodger's That Made Your List podcast. So keep an eye out for that, or an ear out of this.
All right. Malcolm, thank you so much for joining me all the way over there, down under the under.
To the side?
To the side. Give me a burger with a side of fries. Where can the good people find you?
You can find me on various Take 3 videos. I have a new show starting up there at some stage. You can find me on Multiplex, Worldwide Movie Games, Full Metal, everywhere. And I'm on Twitter, Letterboxd, Stardust, @Melkor.
All right, Luca, where can the good people find you at?
Luca, you're muted.
Sorry, that was my fault.
Did Luca...
RJ, you need some help.
Okay.
There it goes. Sorry.
You can find me competing against Bully. I'm in Worldwide Movie Games and Sean Ellison in the singles final. Double finalist. I'm going to have 2 belts very soon. You can find me here doing a lot of Full Metal 5 stuff. You can find me eventually on... I'm also going to be on Dave Goodger's That Made Your List pretty soon. But mostly you can just find me watching Fantasia and crying to myself. That's probably what I'm going to be doing for a while.
All right, and you guys can always find me here on Full Metal Media as well. Me and Jeremy are going to try to get our show Nostalgia Goggles back on track. Like I said, for the next couple of weeks, I will be hosting Full Metal 5. I'll be doing the next 2 Disney movies. And I will also be huddling in my bed with Peter Pan in my arms, crying myself to sleep tonight. But thank you so much for joining us. Make sure to tune in next week, and we will see you guys next time.